Hi, I'm Bruce Vanderschel. I work at the West Music Store in Coralville, Iowa. We have a pretty big maintenance shop, and we have maintenance shops at actually quite a few of our locations. The number here, if you need to call me, is 800-373-2000. My extension is 1254, or if it's a local call, it's 351-2000, and the same extension number. What I've got here is a 1955 Martin Single 015 guitar that, just due to its age, it's actually been very well taken care of. It's got a little buckle rash on the back, and there's a little wear and tear around on it, but very minimal. It's been just almost expertly taken care of. But now, just due to its age, its action is extremely high, and it's overdue for a neck reset. So that's what we're going to be doing to this guitar. We're going to take the neck off, reset it at the proper angle so that the straight edge will actually just kiss the top of the bridge. It'll allow for a saddle to be about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch out of the bridge, and yet have nice low action. I may need to replace the frets on it. It's pretty common that needs to be done when you do a neck reset, as well as replace the nut. The nut, due to its age, it's an ebony nut, and I'll be talking with the customer about that. I may still use ebony if that's what he prefers, or we might replace it with a bone nut. So anyway, we're going to take the neck off of this guy and get it reset and get him better action. Here we are, we're starting the neck reset process. Well, what I need to do is loosen the fingerboard. So I have an iron here that I heat up to around 200-250 degrees. You leave that set on the tongue of the fingerboard for a while. It softens the glue. Actually, I did this already, and then I work a knife, and this is just an old paint scraper actually that I've had for decades, that I reshaped and I've used a million times. And once the glue is softened, you work it under there to loosen up the tongue of the fingerboard. Like I said, I already kind of did this step, so once it's done I can remove this and just let everything cool down. Then I'll let this cool down slightly too, so I can work with it again. At this point, what I need to do is get into the joint, which is right below this fret. So I'll pull just this fret out, and then I'll put a couple of holes down in the joint where I can steam off the neck. When I was speaking with a customer when he first came to our counter and we were looking over the guitar, one of the things I mentioned was, besides his action being real high, which is why we are going to reset the neck on this instrument, one of the issues I noted were that the frets, especially out on the edges of the fingerboard, looked very loose, and the fret was kind of hanging up, and I tested a few and they were quite spongy. So the guitar is going to need refretting as well to take care of all the loose frets. Where we're at so far was I removed the neck, and you do that through the 15th fret slot.
Oh, you're popping that, eh?
Okay, one of the things I'm going to be doing is removing wood from this heel, and actually I've already started doing it a little bit. There's math you do when you go to do this job that tells you how much in thousandths you're going to need to remove from the heel, and it's the tip right here that you'll remove the most, and you'll remove actually none from up by the body, and this will tip the neck back on the guitar. It also loosens this joint, so this joint will need to be shimmed and refit so that it fits tight. If you don't do that step, then the neck would constantly be loose and it actually wouldn't even stay on the guitar. So I take chisels that are sharp enough to shave with, and mahogany's really easy to work with, and you can come along and it's slightly undercut at an angle like this, because what holds it on is the pressure from the dovetail to the edge of the heel. So as you move it in, it kind of cinches everything down in and tightens up. So I did the math, and I needed to remove 42 thousandths from here. So I actually set up a feeler gauge and I scored it and figured out, marked my 42 thousandths. And then I began to cleave away with my chisel and remove the wood. And so I'm getting there, and now my next step is actually going to be to kind of fine tune it so that, because you remove wood in a wedge shape at an angle like this, you remove more down here and almost down here, so it's a wedge shape, that this edge on each side needs to be kept straight. So I get it really, really close with my chisel, and then I'll fine tune it with sandpaper actually, and then I'll come along and touch up any finish blemishes, or if there's any scratches from abrasive in the sandpaper, which usually there isn't, because I'm very careful with how you draw it through, and always using fresh sandpaper and constantly cleaning it out. And anyway, you'll touch everything up, and then after that it'll be a matter of tightening up the joint, fitting that down, and then gluing it all back together. And then the neck was glued on yesterday, and I put just the two outer strings on it a little while ago to check the neck alignment. The neck alignment's good, which is as it should be. Before I glued the neck back on, I checked with the straight edge to make sure the alignment was going to be correct. And the proof in the pudding then was when I put the strings on it and check the neck alignment, and they fall down the center of the fingerboard, which is great. So now we're to the point of I've removed the frets, and I'm going to put new frets back in it. I'll just use stock Martin frets since it's an old Martin and we want to keep it as original as possible. Great thing about Martin is the fret wire is all the same size, except for the tang size, the part that goes in the wood. So I'll clean up the fingerboard and clean up the slots. Then I'll measure the slots, and whatever that measurement tells me is what tang size of fret I'll use to put back in it. So we're at that point. I'm going to start cleaning up the board and put new frets back in it. Okay, now this 1955 Martin Single 015 is back in shape and ready to be played. The action is normal, actually to the low side of Martin's new specs. And it's ready to go. Sounds real good. Plays nice and easy. The neck got reset, and in the process of doing that, the finish is very thin, it's very old, and it was weather checked and crazed all over. So the steam actually kind of did a number on the finish where it caused the finish to blush, and some of it was so just such small flakes it just kind of went away with the steam, even though the steam was only on there for a minimal amount of time, just long enough to get the neck loose. And so I did kind of an amalgamating process with lacquer retarder mixed with lacquer, and kind of refinished and sort of re-amalgamated this area. Then once I got strings back on it, the old saddle had been cut down and really cut away towards the treble side to try to keep making the action better, as the guitar was sort of aging out of bounds. The low E actually measured okay, but as you came across, the strings got lower and lower and lower and fretted out more and more. So I removed the old bone glued-in saddle and made a new bone saddle for it that is more standard configuration. I don't know what you can see in the video, but it's a lot more even. It sticks up out of the bridge about 1/8 of an inch, and yet the action is quite low, so we've got room to move the action up and down if we need to. So we just kind of want to show kind of a short synopsis of a neck reset and refret and kind of a bigger overhaul version, something you might not always see about fixing a guitar. And my name is Bruce Vanderschel. I work at West Music Company. Our number is area code 319-351-2000. My extension is 1254, and I'm here full time. So if you need something like this done, or you got an old guitar that you know, just can't seem to be brought in line as far as the action goes or the intonation, it could be that it needs a neck reset. And of course that's not doable on every guitar, but on really nice old Martin and Gibsons, it can really just bring the instrument back to life. So thanks for watching.